Well, 15 years have passed since the 9/11 terrorist attacks, but for many of us, it seems like just yesterday when more than 3,000 of our loved ones perished. It's a day that none of us will ever forget. And on this 15-year commemoration, Americans came together to remember. Rasha Goel takes us to one LA Fire Department ceremony.
David Brandhorst was 3 years old. He was the adopted son of Ronald Gamboa and Daniel Brandhorst. A friend of them said that, quote, Ron and Dan were wonderful daddies to David, who was a bright and curious child. Ron and Dan were also founding members of the Pop Luck Club, an LA organization that provides resources and support to gay dads and their families. Ronald, Daniel, and David all perished when United Airlines Flight 175 hit the South Tower.
Mayor Eric Garcetti recites some of the names and stories of those Angelenos who lost their lives in the September 11th attacks at this 9/11 remembrance ceremony held at the Frank Hotchkin Memorial Training Center.
Written on a wall of the 9/11 Memorial Museum, in the footprint of those mighty towers that were a symbol of who we were, are these words, quote, "No day shall erase you from the memory of time." They remind us that no matter how heinous the act, no matter how sudden the loss, no matter how deep the grief, no act of terror can ever erase that timeless bond we share with those people that we love.
The ringing of the bell to remember those who lost their lives in service 15 years ago.
To those who have selflessly given their lives for the good of their fellow man, their task completed, their duties all done, to our comrades, their last alarm, they are going home. God bless America, our home, sweet home.
The men and women of the Los Angeles Fire Department remember the 343 New York City firefighters and paramedics killed that day while rushing into those two doomed buildings, as everyone else was rushing to get out. We remember the 23 NYPD officers and 37 Port Authority police officers who sacrificed their lives so others could live. We remember the 125 civilians and military personnel killed at the Pentagon. And we remember the nearly 3,000 civilians who perished in the towers and on those 4 airliners that day.
Those 3,000 Americans may be gone, but they'll never be forgotten, forging a lifelong bond between family, friends, and strangers from across the nation.
We come together to remember sacrifice. We come together to acknowledge courage. We come together so that we never forget, as Ralph and the mayor so eloquently said, those that have given so much for all of us.
Lord, now today as we go, we ask your continued blessing on this city, this country, and the world.
I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
Now, this is one of several ceremonies held throughout Los Angeles.